I knew this was going to be a tough one tonight.
Yeah.
And the Bulls are coming in hot. One of the last remaining undefeated teams in the NBA. Yes, it's an early start, only 4 games, but there's a reason for that. And give credit, Josh Giddey has been amazing so far after his contract extension. He's been a leader for the Bulls. He's been saying all the right things. And he set the tone tonight, carving the Knicks up. And it's these type of teams that I'm a bit leery about when the Knicks face them. They're young. They do have athleticism. They have good guard play. They are aggressive, and they play with speed. These are the types of teams that the Knicks have trouble with. And the problem was with this game, they did not come out with the requisite energy or the proper ball pressure, to the point where they found themselves down by 22 points at the half.
Disgusting.
22 points at the half. And so you figure second half that they're going to give it a better shot, and they did. The defense was better in the third quarter. They found the proper shot making. And hell, at one point in this game, they cut the lead down to 2 in the fourth quarter. They had a good lineup in there with the starters plus Deuce. Towns was out. So they went with Jalen. They had McCall, OG, Mitch, and Deuce. That group had a nice little run going. Knicks call timeout. They throw Towns in there, and I'm not throwing him under the bus completely, but he's part of the overall defensive collapse here with this team. And in crunch time, the final 5 minutes of the game, they go from a 2-point deficit, and the Bulls finish on a 20-12 run. Knicks couldn't recover, man. No defense to be found, bro.
No defense to be found indeed. And this just reminds me of what Chuck D said last week. It was me and CK. I think it was against the Miami Heat. And it's the same type of rhythm where these guys come out a little lackadaisical, and then next thing you know, second half comes around like, all right, guys, we got to try this. And Chuck said it best. He said, this Knicks team needs to be awake. They need to be focused. They can't be playing with their food at all. They have to be locked in all 40 minutes on a regular basis for this team to be very successful. And as of right now, it doesn't look like that for the last 3 games, being on a 3-game skid. He entered a matchup against an undefeated team, a Chicago Bulls team that's looking to prove itself. You should want to prove yourself after losing 2 straight to Miami and Milwaukee after Giannis just dog-walked the entire team, on Tuesday night. You should feel like you come back with energy, with some pride that you want to show that, hey, we're out here. It's supposed to be a championship contender team. And instead, you come out here and you let the Bulls go out there and do their damn thing. So, look, I talked about in the Game of the Week preview. Shout out to Will. He said this is a fast, young, athletic Bulls team that's going to go out there, try to push the pace on you and create open looks, try to get paint touches, generate threes, and they did just that. Okay? They got good paint touches. They scored 54-38 against the Knicks in the paint tonight. All right? Yeah. They didn't even beat them in transition. All they had to do was just get up the court fast enough, make them the Knicks scatter a little bit, and then just create open looks.
Those are the teams that give the Knicks fits, bro. Exactly how Will described it. That's why I'm like, this is why the Pacers ran him out the building.
Yep.
They have trouble with these types of teams, and so there is where the frustration. It's not about the loss. And you got people flying out the window. You got people talking about, we're at the point where the narratives start flying, right? So,
yep.
I mean, multiple choice. You take your pick. Somebody in the chat is talking about it. We need to make a trade. The coach isn't good enough. I had somebody on Twitter talking about we're about to be the 5th or 6th seed. Okay, so we've reached that level of ridiculousness. And so you get prepared for that. But that's not where I am. Where I am is, in terms of concerns, is it's just a similar signs with this team that they can't necessarily compensate for. Their lack of athleticism, their lack of wing depth, and the coach struggling to find the right defense-offense combinations to finish a game. Those things, to me, I'm not so sure, even if they get the chemistry and they find themselves offensively, those things I'm not so sure they'll be able to fix. Every team has weaknesses, but these, as the Knicks are currently constructed, those are the weaknesses that carry over from last year, where you see it pop up in the regular season.
I mean, look, CP, it's the same 6, 7 that you want to go through for this roster, right? It goes down from Brunson, Cat, OG, Bridges, Hart, McBride, and Mitch. It's the same 7 from last year that you're relying on. That's the core right there. And so we just knew that this team is not going to be like this crazy up-tempo team, even though these guys looked like they came in like great shape, ready to run. But thing is, you could come and try to implement something like that, but this team works best when it slows it down and is more methodical. Notice how they were able to get back into this game in the second half after being down 20-plus points. They had to slow it down, work the ball around, generate good looks. They're not going to be a team that flies up and just constantly shakes the ball all over the place like the Sacramento Kings. That's not what this roster is. That's not what this roster is at all. And so I think for Mike Brown, even though he wants to incorporate that aspect of the game, and I think you could do that in spurts for this team, but I think you have to blend that in. They're not going to be this 110 mile per hour, 48-minute type of team. They're just not designed like that.
No.
It's just not going to happen.
No.
So what you got to do is you got to have them pick their spots and when they're going to play fast, when they're going to slow it down. And look, let's also keep it a bean too. The bench sucked tonight. All right? Bulls bench went out there and did their job. Knicks bench, awful. Josh Hart, what's going on, man? Is the finger bothering you that bad? Like, I'm looking for you to be this energizer that I'm so accustomed to seeing from you. Like, grabbing boards, pushing the pace, getting out there in transition, wrecking havoc. You're kind of quiet right now, I understand you just got back from an injury, but I'm expecting a little bit more than that. Jordan Clarkson, look, I understand. Yabusele, these guys are still new. I'm going to give them the pass that they got to get acclimated. They both came from losing teams, played a lot of minutes. You got to hone it in and become more efficient in limited minutes that you're going to get. I get that. But the bench itself tonight was just awful. They got to figure that thing out too, CP. And whether that's consistently just leaving some starters with the bench unit players to like resolve that issue right there, something's got to change because you can't have the entire guys out there together.
A couple of storylines tonight. As you mentioned, the bench, we had the return of 3 rotation players, 2 off the bench. You had Mitch coming back. He played with the starters. Deuce coming back off the bench. Yabusele coming off the bench as well. None of those guys really having an impact. And look, Mitch is coming back from the ankle. Deuce had a death in the family. So, again, guys need time to ramp up. But just speaking facts tonight, none of the 3 were relatively impactful, especially Mitch, where you need him impactful on the defensive end. Vucevic ate him up. The Bulls guards were able to have their way, and so he looked a bit of a step slow, honestly, out there. So defensively, he really wasn't much of a factor. Deuce did have a key 3 here in the Knicks run when I mentioned that 5 that I liked, which was Brunson, Deuce, McCall, OG, and Mitch. That group had a good shot at cutting the lead in the fourth quarter, and Deuce was part of that. There was a big run where they go on a 9-2 run where it was Deuce's 3. You had, and then you had back-to-back 3s by OG Anunoby. So that was a good group, but overall was fairly lackluster. Yabusele only got 3 minutes in this game, and so I'm not sure if that was Brown trying to figure out rotations or that was a knee situation, but he clearly was trying to figure out rotations because if you look at it, Deuce was the first guard off the bench in the first half. Clarkson was the last one. Second half, Clarkson is the first guard off the bench. Kolek doesn't play at all. Hart only gets, we'll get to Hart in a second, but Hart only gets maybe 5 minutes in the third. And Yabusele doesn't play at all. So, and then Shamet, rather. I think Shamet was actually may have been the first guard or second in the first half. But either way, he was one of the last to get in the second half. So I think that was part of Brown trying to figure out, combinations on both ends of the floor that would work.
Yeah, and look, I'm not screaming the season's over or anything like that. There is clearly like some frustration in more with regards to the effort that I'm seeing from this team, right? And with what the caliber is. It's still very early in the season. I'm still at that moment. I'm still with the get me to 20 games and then I'll get you the full analysis what I project this team to really look like by the end. And look, just because it's 20 games doesn't mean I can't be wrong in what I expect this team to be doing. All right.
Yeah.
But regardless, when I'm looking at this team and seeing what's going on here, it's just Mike Brown trying to figure out what rotations work best. And it's fine. I'm okay with the experimentation. I'm expecting losses because this is something new that he's trying to figure out. There's a new system he's trying to implement to this team. They're trying to get acclimated to as well, they being the players. So there's a lot of moving pieces where it's just not going to look pretty every single game. But that being said, when you're looking at teams where you're measuring yourself, right? I'm expecting you to come out competing against an undefeated team, though. Like, don't you want to say, hey, this team's undefeated, but they're not going to supplant us as one of the best teams out here? So the thing that I'll be looking for on Sunday's matchup against the Chicago Bulls, again, is how do you adjust? You know, treat this like a mini playoff series. You always talk about that, CP. These back-to-back games, even though they're not technically back-to-back, but these mini series that gives you kind of a playoff vibes, right? Let's see how they bounce back against the Chicago Bulls and see if they can make the adjustments necessary, saying, all right, this is what didn't work. This is how this team likes to play. This is how we should play them moving forward, because this is real life stuff that they're going to be dealing with as they get to the postseason.
You ever seen the movie Life, bro?
Yeah, of course. Of course. I love that movie. Oh, those are two of my favorite actors.
You know the character can't get right? That's the Knicks, bro. So that's the Knicks, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
all right, couple of things, man. It's just head scratching these rotations. We went from one head coach who didn't sub anybody to the other one who's subbing way too much. It's like I think CP hit it on the head, man. Like, you got Clarkson, he comes in for Mitch at the 8-minute mark in the third quarter, and then he doesn't leave. And then you got Deuce playing the last 18 minutes of the game. And then Yabu played 3 minutes in the first half. It's just way too much going on, man. I feel like as soon as these guys catch a rhythm, one of them is going out.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember this, but like in the first, I think it might have been in the end of the first half. Shamet came in for Mitch, sat down, and got right back up for Hart. I was like, holy crap. It's like none of these guys, you can't get a solid 5 rhythm flow, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm a little confused about that, man. And the thing is, like, Alex hit it on the head. It was like, this team isn't really a run and gun team. It's methodical, get to the paint, kick it out for an open shooter like OG and McHale on the wing or the corner. So that's the kind of game that I want to see, man. And like you said, the last point I'm going to make is Hart. I don't know what's going on with him, man. Like, if the finger is messed up, I don't understand why you're giving up 4 straight drives to the rim in the first quarter, man. You're getting blown by. I'm getting frustrated, and it's getting dark early, but let's see, man. I said we was going to take like 20 games, so let's see what happens, fellas. Let's see you Sunday night. Take care, guys.
Appreciate the call. What do you guys think in the chat, man? Rate the Knicks Fixers call, especially if you guys are new here. What we do when everybody calls in, you rate the call in the chat. You guys are the judges in the chat. Rate the call, 1 being trash, all the way up to 5 being facts. Does he have a point? He says he's not. It's a little too herky-jerky with the rotations. My opinion now, I'm okay with it, honestly. I'm okay with it. You know, we've been so used to the past 5 years, Tibbs, right? Wait. So now we want to go back to template coaching? Is that what I'm hearing? And we want to go back to template rotations?
Oh, boy.
Knicks Fix is a veteran here. He's a veteran on this platform. Are we going back to template rotations?
Oh, boy.
I say that facetiously, but what I'm saying is this is a new coach. He wants to see who these guys are, what the rotations are, and to be honest, like, I'm not going to judge that until playoff time. I'm okay with saying, hey, you know what? You want to figure out the right combinations? You go right ahead. You go right ahead. He's still going to play 9, maybe 10. He's still going to have your rotations. You have to. But to find the right combinations when you have new players on the bench, I'm totally fine with it. And because this team needs a good balance of ball handling and playmaking, while they may not have the perfect complementary players, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with seeing him go to Clarkson last in the first half, go to Clarkson first in the second half. Let's see how it works.
Absolutely. And look, we also got to see what we got on this roster, CP. And so that's why he's mixing and matching and seeing what guys work best with other guys. Yeah. Look, practice, you're only going to see so much. It's not going to give you the full picture of who's actually going to perform in real live game situations. So you need these reps for everybody to see who is capable of performing under what circumstances. So look, it's good. It's I'm cool with it. I feel like most of us asked for it. Maybe not most, but a lot of us asked for it. I'll go with that. A lot of us asked for it last year because we already knew from when Tibbs got here, who was going to sub in at 5 minutes in the first quarter, who was going to sub at the beginning of the second quarter, how the third quarter was going to start, and who's playing the entire third quarter. It's refreshing to see that. And someone said it in the chat not too long ago, or maybe it was on social. I can't remember. But when they said, if you're comfortable with the experimentation, you got to be comfortable with losing because you're just still trying to figure it out. And that's fine because that's what this team is trying to figure out. That's what this front office wants. We have to look at it from that lens too. And even what the players wanted, right? Think about what Mikal Bridges said last season. Play some of the guys that are on the bench. We don't have to play, X amount of minutes every single night, right?
Yeah.
So that's why they brought in somebody like Mike Brown, a guy who's more than comfortable playing 10, 11 guys and seeing what he has on his bench. And we just got to be cool with that.